There is a chip you have never seen, inside a computer you do not own, that decides whether you get to use the next version of ChatGPT. It is not the GPU. The GPU is made by NVIDIA. It is the stack of 8 black rectangles sitting next to the GPU. They are called HBM, high bandwidth memory. Without them, the GPU is blind. More than 90% of the world's HBM is made by two companies, both in South Korea, SK Hynix and Samsung. Two companies, on one peninsula, in factories 35 kilometers from the North Korean border. On June 28, 2026, the Korean government announced the largest single industrial investment in human history. $576 billion, all for these two companies. Samsung is not a company, it is a dynasty. Founded 1938, under Lee Kun-hee, it became the world's largest memory chip maker. For nearly 50 years, if you wanted memory, you went to Samsung. Lee Jae-yong, the third-generation heir, waited 32 years to take over. Then he went to prison, convicted, appealed, retried, paroled, pardoned. For 6 years, Samsung's leader was in courtrooms, not boardrooms. And during those 6 years, something changed in the memory business that Samsung did not see coming. Chae Tae-won, SK Group. Until 2012, his company made oil, telecom, chemicals, not chips. In 2012, SK bought a dying memory company called Hynix for $3 billion. The industry laughed. But Chae saw something nobody else saw. In 2013, he made a decision that seemed insane. Stop chasing Samsung in standard memory. Bet everything on stacking memory vertically. Make it 10 times faster. He called it HBM. Everyone else called it a science project. For 7 years, Chae kept his HBM team alive with almost no revenue, no customers. Just the belief that someday someone would need memory this fast. November 2022, ChatGPT launched. Every AI company suddenly had the same problem. AI models need to move billions of parameters in fractions of a second. Only one type of memory can do this, HBM. March 2024, GTC, Jensen Huang stands on stage and says, the reason the H200 is possible is SK Hynix. Samsung, the 50-year dynasty, was not in that sentence. Samsung panicked. It rushed to build HBM3E chips for NVIDIA. 3 submissions, 3 rejections, overheating redesigned, still failed. The dynasty that dominated memory for half a century could not pass one test. Which brings us back to that number, $576 billion, 10 times the US CHIPS Act, 3 times China's entire semiconductor fund. Korea is not betting on one company. It is betting that whoever controls HBM controls the next decade of AI. Because here's what most people miss. AI is not limited by how fast chips can compute. It is limited by how fast memory can feed data to those chips. And right now, only 2 companies on one peninsula can make that memory. 2 families, 1 dynasty, 1 outsider. A $576 billion question, who wins? Here is what I think most people are missing about the AI race. When we talk about AI chips, we talk about NVIDIA, we talk about TSMC. But the real bottleneck, the component that nobody can build AI without, sits 35 kilometers from a hostile border made by 2 companies that have spent the last decade fighting each other. The AI revolution does not run on GPUs alone, it runs on memory. And memory has an address. It is in Korea.